Hey, welcome back to Opinions on Everything. I'm Forbes. I'm back with Keith, as always. He seems to be our go-to guest, but we've got a handful of conversations we're going to hit you with today. No one else seemed to want to join us today, so it's just us.
So here we are, fresh out of church and ready to talk.
In fact, what was the main picture of church today? It said miracles, and I think that was Keith's first topic, and we're going to jump right into it.
So, the picture was a man standing on the ground looking straight up at a mountain over his head. And you think about in the Bible or the verse that says that anybody with enough faith can move mountains. Enough faith in God can move mountains. So I wanted to touch into whether you Forbes and whoever's listening thinks that miracles are real today, because that's a question I get. If they were all hocus pocus to begin with, if it was kind of like the stories of Zeus or Poseidon where they were all embellished. If like the Bible was just embellished, like good stories get embellished over time, and it was he say, she say until the bread turned into 1,000, or if maybe the kid had bread but everybody else found bread or something like that. The bread was for 1,000.
Before we get into that, let me ask you a couple questions.
Yeah.
Is the Bible God's word, or is it God inspired?
It's God inspired.
So it is not directly from God. It is not God's purposeful word choice on the page, hypothetically.
Seeing as it has been translated
millions of times. Probably not millions, but a lot.
I think it is God inspired, and God told the people who wrote it to write what they wrote. But it was inspired. It wasn't like every word isn't handcrafted by God.
Would God have inspired embellishment in His word?
Yeah, that's what we're getting into when we talk about these miracles.
Okay. My second question: does God exist as a tangible impact on the earth today, or did He simply create the earth, create the laws of nature, create all of us, create right and wrong, morality, and leave it and say, this is what it is, here's the book, follow it, do your best. I'm here, talk to me, but I'm not going to be actively seeking to change the world? Or is He still active on the world?
I think that God set this world into motion by His laws and His physics, and He still holds it up together through the mechanisms that He created. That being said, does He intervene through miracles, or does He not? Or do we see miracles, or do we just not have enough faith to see His miracles, or for His miracles to happen?
Where do you fall? Do you think He's a watchmaker mentality where He made it and He just let it sit because He built this perfect thing that just works?
No, I think that He built a watch and He built this perfect thing, and He watches it. But at certain times in it, He makes the watch do kind of extraordinary things that it doesn't normally do.
Like what?
Like turn bread into fish into 1,000, or help a person. He put into a person their adrenal glands so that he can have more power to lift something, or just little miracles like that, where He can intervene.
So you believe those miracles did take place?
Yeah,
okay.
I do believe that, and I'm just playing devil's advocate.
You're right.
Do you think that it is? Because I mean, you hear about Greek mythology. Whenever I hear that, I'm just like, oh, how did they think that was true? And now we laugh at them like, ha ha ha. They think that Zeus or Achilles dragged around Paris, and that Zeus was behind him, or just random stuff like that, where these gods came to Earth and they were with the humans, but
slept with a lot of them.
Yeah, slept with a lot of them, all that. And now we're laughing at them. But in the future, will people be looking and laughing at us about stuff that we believe?
We're almost already there. I feel like.
Oh yeah, we definitely are in a lot of different ways.
Scholastic thought laughs at faith, right?
Yeah,
and so if we laugh at mythology because it's not our faith, but it was their faith.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at that grim nature, of what religion has brought to human thought and how we know that is fake without a shadow of a doubt. But those people believed in it fully and wholly.
Yeah. They believed in it the way we believe in
God.
our God.
So it kind of hurts the way a lot of people think about Christianity. But that being said, let's get back to miracles, because we kind of just...
Yeah, we'll tangent into faith some other day, I think. But miracles are interesting. I believe miracles definitely took place in the Bible. As he mentioned, the turning water into wine, walking on water, et cetera, right? Yeah, your famous miracles. Bringing people back from the dead even. But are they still occurring today? I have seen or heard firsthand accounts of miracles.
Yeah.
But are they truly miracles, or are they simply mindset altered things? You know, you talk about healings in a Pentecostal church. You sit there and you pray over this person, and then they're like, "Are you feeling better?" No, not yet. And you pray over them again until eventually that person's like, "Okay, hallelujah, I feel great," right?
Yeah.
Were they actually healed, or were they? I don't want to say peer pressure. That sounds bad, but were they altered in their mind because of their faith in the Lord and their faith in His healing power that they were healed? Exactly. Were they actually healed in their body? Maybe, because what we get into with medicine, and you can cover it more, is your mindset alters how you feel a great deal.
Yeah, it does. If you're releasing endorphins because you're happy about where you are,
all of a sudden that headache's not so bad.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, no, you're right. If you pray over your headache because you had it for the last month, and you pray over everybody prays with you, and then you have a sense of community and everybody's giving you attention, that may release endorphins, and all of a sudden that headache, the pressure, the blood pressure or whatever starts going down because you don't have anxiety about being alone, or just little stuff like that.
So yes, you're healed in a sense, but not necessarily.
Is that the way that God does miracles? And when Jesus walked on water, was that just like a metaphor in the Bible for like Jesus kind of swam in this really hard place to swim, and then it was like impossible to do, so like he was basically walking on water because no one could ever do what he did. And did he really defy the laws of nature, or did
he just turn into Michael Phelps?
Yeah. Or was it just embellished? Because people embellish stories to make them better.
I don't like the idea of the Bible being embellished, though.
No, nor do I.
It's certainly a depressing thought.
Yeah, it is. It's a very depressing thought, man, and I don't think it is.
Right.
That's just something I've heard a lot from a lot of other people. But what I really wanted to expound on in miracles is the thought that miracles don't exist today, because that's what you hear. Like, you read them in the Bible, you hear about them in Africa or wherever, people being healed, people going on mission trips and having these miracles happen.
Sure.
And why do they happen there, but we don't hear about them in America at all? And my stance on the whole matter is that we take care of ourselves too much and don't leave room for God to do miracles.
Mm-hmm.
We make our saving accounts. We have an extra car. We
medicate.
We self-medicate and over-medicate until there's no need for healing.
Right.
The second we get sick, we go to a doctor. We find worldly ways.
As soon as we have a headache, take a couple of aspirin.
Yeah. So we don't have to pray. We don't give God the room toward that miracle, because the second we run out of money, we have a saving account, or we've saved that money. It's not a mentality of give everything and God will take care of you. It's give your 10%, but save 30% in case for a day where you don't have it. So I believe that we fall back on ourselves and we don't fall back on God. And when God takes care of people and works miracles is when you fall back on Him.
So what's your experience with miracles in your own life? You've been to Peru for two or three?
Yeah.
2 or 3 mission trips, right?
I've been there for 3.
3, okay. Did you see any miracles there?
So the closest thing to an actual miracle I witnessed was we came into a village that had very rarely, only 1 or 2 times ever been around white people, or Americans.
Dang white people.
Yeah, I know. But it was in the middle of the rainforest, and there was no known knowledge of Christianity. All there was a witch doctor that lived there, and when we came to the village, the witch doctor was on the hill doing his thing, this magical thing. But we didn't meet the witch doctor the entire time we were there. The witch doctor didn't come around us. But my dad, my father, did give a speech to the village, everyone who would listen, and I did have like a not a super sense, but a supernatural feeling that something was around me, and it was I was guarding the bags to make sure no one stole any bags. Because I was a young person who had a little knife and make sure no one from the village ran around and stole our bags.
Perfect.
But I was watching from afar, and I had this supernatural feeling, and I felt like something was here, something was around, and then I was looking around, just looking everywhere, and I went and searched through the bags, and then I walked out, and everybody was like up front, had stood up and professed that they wanted to accept Jesus as their Savior.
Do you see that as a miracle, or simply the sharing of Jesus and their acceptance, which is a miracle in its sense, but not?
Yeah, no, but like I said, it's not really a miracle. That's the closest thing that I've actually witnessed with my own two eyes of feeling that there was a presence, or feeling that there was a holy feeling, a supernatural feeling in the air, something intervening, whether it be in people's hearts and people's minds or whatever it was, because it was intervening in my mind right there. And yeah, so that's the closest thing to, and it wouldn't be a miracle. That's where I get into the Holy Spirit intervening in what He's already set in motion.
Sure.
Making the watchmaker
mentality.
Yeah.
So let's define miracle real quick, because that's interesting.
Yeah.
Do you see it as anything that a person would not normally experience happening?
Yeah, I think that.
Or does it have to be supernatural?
I think it's something that defies the laws of physics.
Okay.
Anything like, whether it be bread that turned into more bread, or the Elijah and the lady who had no food.
Bread and oil, right?
The bread and oil, and the oil and bread keeps filling up. Or there was a Holy Spirit in the air where it's just air, or there's a life force in the air. I think that's a miracle that can happen. Yeah, but that's hard to define. That's just in the eye of the beholder.
There was my church in Auburn, when I went there, we had a group from Tennessee. I think it was a Grace Center church from Tennessee. They sent down a team, and they went on campus and were praying for people and seeking miracles. Essentially, this was a miracle team. It was a supernatural ministry. And they came back to church that Sunday, and there was a bunch of people from my church who had gone with them that day, and they said that, I think it was a girl, she had one arm that was way shorter than the other, and it grew back out, and it became the same length as the other, which is an amazing story, but I didn't personally see it. So did these people embellish, or was it...
Yeah, you're right. Did they embellish, or...
Was it simply, oh my goodness, my arm feels better, and so they took that as, yes, it was a miracle, it physically grew out, or was it just that girl said her arm felt better because they prayed for her?
Yeah, and does God truly deal with an arm being one a little shorter than the other? Is that something that's like super high on His priority list?
I think we'll have to get into God and His priorities someday too. Then
I don't know His priorities, of course.
That's a tangent.
But no, you're right. Is it embellished? Is it you want to believe so much that you just end up believing it? Do people slain in the Spirit just feel so heavily that they are around everybody and they have to do this, that it happens? Yeah, it's just something that's plagued my thought between, are miracles real? Are they just embellished? Or does God actually intervene?
With the idea of faith, we're supposed to believe in miracles, I would argue. If we truly lived a life of faith, as you say, Americans, we don't do that very well.
No,
we don't trust in God very much. If we did, we would probably see miracles. Hypothetically, in my faith, I would imagine we would.
Yeah, I think we all have our Ross IRA, whatever, saving accounts, and we're just all preparing for the future, for the doomsday, or for the time where we won't have anything, and we have a safety net. We can't fall into God. Is kind of where I end up. That's why we don't see the miracles. I think we hide behind an idol of money, and because that money is in between us and God, we can't. He can't catch us, or he can't intervene in our lives unless we go somewhere where, like in Peru, my sister's group that was in Peru in a village called Esperanza, which actually means hope, which is my sister's name. They ran out of water, and they had to use water purification, and it was really bad. Like the water wasn't really purified. They had to purify a bunch of times out of the Amazon rainforest or Amazon River.
They should have just trusted in God and prayed over that water.
Yeah, and then they prayed over the water, and nobody got sick off of it. Which, if you drink water from the Amazon and you don't really purify it, you're going to be sick. It's happened 2 years before, someone got really sick with the runs and all that, super dehydrated. So why didn't they get sick? Did God supernaturally intervene with that water purification?
Sounds to me like they used a lot of purification tablets, and they didn't trust in God to just purify the water, right?
Did they? Well,
that's still falling back on money in a sense, but possessions. They bought tablets.
So, but like with the people that came from the church in Tennessee, what if they had come down to Georgia trusting in God with no money, no food, and no shelter? Is that folly? Is that stupid of them?
Yeah.
To come down and not take care of themselves? Because when I would ask somebody that, and like they came down with nothing, and they just expected God to take care of them, that's kind of like folly or
foolishness, right?
Foolishness. That's not being a good steward of your body, I wouldn't think. But if you have faith in God, is it?
Are we not called to live wisely, though?
Yeah, I think we are, but is it the best wisdom that we have?
Just trusting in God,
trusting in God. So I truly believe that if we trusted in God more and stopped relying on our monetary needs and our own ability to give ourselves shelter, then God would provide possibly supernaturally at points.
Yeah. You know the saying that everybody says, but it's not actually in the Bible. God helps those who help themselves, right? That's not actually biblical. But I feel like a lot of Christians try to use that as their excuse for why they're doing that, right?
Yeah.
Because it's easier to say, I don't have to trust in God because God gave me all this and I need to just go invest it and be wise with it, which is a valid argument in its own right. But they're not necessarily saying, okay, God, I have nothing and I'm giving it all to you. Yeah. Let's see what happens. I'm believing in you.
Yeah. So, I mean, I come back to the fact that God or Jesus did go up to Matthew, the tax collector, and ask him to give away all he had and follow him. So he dropped everything he had and he followed Jesus. But Jesus didn't do that to the people who he stayed in the house with, like from city to city. So it takes the Christian to give up everything they have to go with Jesus and profess his name and all that. But it also takes the people who are willing to house them and to have
provide for them, support them.
Yeah. Because I think God works through those people just as well. So it takes the both I see as radical. The fact that you're willing to open up your house, your bed, your home,
to strangers,
your family to strangers because you believe in the same thing, that's a miracle in itself.
Yeah.
So, it takes the people who are God inspired to give up everything, and then it takes the people who are God inspired to give what they have, their time, which is probably the most important thing to give,
and
their time,
family, open it up to it.
Yeah.
Shelter, their home, everything.
Yeah. And trusting in God that these people are of Him and want the best for their family, that you opened up the doors to.
So what's the solution? Trusting God more?
Yeah, I mean...
And hope we can see some miracles?
Yeah.
Because I think we're coming down, we both believe in miracles, correct?
Yeah, we both believe in miracles.
Simply a matter of trusting God and letting them happen.
Yeah, and stop hiding behind our idols of...
whatever it is. Yeah. Money, food, etc.
More often it's money, because money buys food. And, of course, money is a convenience. We should just barter, right?
Barter economy.
That'll be another topic one day.
Talk about barter economy soon.
I do like to barter. And now that I work where I do on a farm, the people I work with barter all the time.
They're like, I'll trade you this 3 ears of corn for your 1 head of lettuce.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's fun.
It is.
All right. So, miracles. You know what I like about miracles?
What?
The idea that sometimes you see a light But what kind of light could that be? Is it a natural light or is it an artificial light? Keith, I think you wanted to talk about artificial light today, so that's my sweet segue into it.
So I had a fun conversation with my boss. And for everyone who doesn't know, I just kind of segued into this as well.
Yeah.
My boss is a farmer because I got a new job at a farm that's not organic farm, but it is like a beyond organic farm. So even cooler.
even more hipster.
So we at this farm, I got, for something I did in the past, I got a free voucher to go to the Georgia Organics conference. GoConf. Georgia Organic Conference.
In Augusta, right?
Yeah, it was in Augusta. And my boss was speaking at one. He was actually speaking about being the boss and staying the boss of your apprentices.
Ooh.
So it's funny because I'm his apprentice. But
and he gave a speech on how he controls you.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
He's a really, really, really great guy. Really funny, and he's just he's a big goober, and he knows it, and he's a good guy. But we were at the conference, and day 2 comes around, and he looked at me and said, we were all kind of tired after day 1 of just listening to people all day speak and being like our mind being strained. He said, "Man, you get really." He looked at me. He said, "Man, you get really tired after a full day and a half of this." I was like, "Yeah, you're right, traveling." And then I thought he meant like having to hear these people speaking, your mind always being on and mingling and connecting with other farmers who may be able to help you in your knowledge.
Right.
So I was like, "Yeah, you're right. It is kind of tiring." So then that happens, and we're all tired. But we get back to the farm on Monday, and we start working. And he's talking to me some more. He's like, "Yeah, man, it was hard being in that artificial light for hours." I was like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, it's just it took a toll on me to be under artificial light and fluorescent light bulbs all day long." I said, "Is that why you were tired?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I thought you were talking about like people speaking." He said, "Oh, well, that too, but it kind of like tired out my eyes." I started thinking, is that true? Because me and you, Forrest, we've worked in buildings for the past
schools.
2 years.
I mean, we've always been in there.
Yeah, for hours and hours, been under artificial light, and I've really never thought about that. But this farmer who's never under artificial light, his house is very well lit, and they go to sleep basically when night comes. They do have a light, a few lamps in their house, but they only use that sparingly. They mainly just use the sunlight. They don't use much artificial light, and I didn't think about that. Like, this guy's never under artificial light. Really, the only light he uses is a few light bulbs sparingly, and they wake up when the sun comes up. They go to sleep when the sun goes down, and they usually only use the sunlight. So does it have an effect on people? Do you think that gives people headaches? And you think these people that come in with he said that he had a headache. Him and his wife both did.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and do you think that artificial light may have a medical problem with people and the way that they see and
every single study I've ever read on sleep, because I suck at sleeping. I've always wanted to get away from being a bad sleeper. They say artificial light, especially from laptops, TVs, phones, is it gets in your head and it messes up your day-night cycle, especially the blue light from devices, like I said. And so if the best way to sleep is honestly to reset your clock is to go outside camp for like, I think it's 3 days, and that shouldn't be enough to reset you, and you just go from whenever it's light outside, you're up, and when it's dark, you go to bed. And that's simple.
I'm going to tell you what, I've never slept as well as I have the past 3 weeks of working this new job. I'm not saying it's because I'm in the sun all day long, because I still have artificial light in my house, but yeah, we don't use any devices really 30 minutes to an hour before we go to sleep. Mm-hmm. We turn the TV off, and usually we drink some tea and just talk for at least 30 minutes before we go to bed. And it seems to work really well. And that's just some things that we do because of our looking into artificial light.
Right.
And I'm in the sun all day long now. I'm burnt to show. But I don't know. Maybe that is. I think it's because I'm more tired now.
Right, you're working hard.
But then again, I was still riding I don't ride my bike every day now like I used to.
Sell out.
Sell out until you fall out. But yeah, I think I'm getting. I was getting some energy, but now I am just out, like sleeping heavier, dreaming more. everything in the past probably 3 weeks.
Does the sun not wear you out? Because when I'm out in the sun,
Yeah.
I am exhausted. I don't like the sun.
It very much tires me out. And like the other day, I went and played basketball. Then I went and ran like 2 miles out at the farm, just around the property. Then I worked all day.
Oh, I'm sure
like
you slept
till
like a
5:30.
log that night.
Yeah, and I had to get to work early to move chicken pens. And just the sun was out all day that day. It was like 3 days ago or whenever Tuesday was.
Sure.
And yeah, I was just plumb tired, so maybe that's why I sleep well. But
Yeah.
does artificial light cause headaches, cause problem in sleep? Does blue light from computers, is it worth investing in these glasses that stop the blue light? Like my wife Anna was saying, like, do you really need to spend $90? Is that worth it?
It could be why I don't sleep. It could be. I stare at a computer 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's horrible. And then I come home and I look at a TV. You know,
Yeah.
like it never stops.
It never stops. And I'm more and more leaning towards there's a problem with artificial light. Maybe that's the most hipster thing I've ever said. Like,
I'm not going to have any lights in my home. You
Yeah.
know, like you're going to get to that point in a few weeks, I'm
yeah,
sure.
I think I will, because I like to take things to the extreme.
Right.
I love it, whether it be not eating any meat. Like, now I've been crazy a few years ago. Now I'm like, yeah. To composting and being
Riding your
zero
bike.
waste. Now I'm like pretty close to zero waste. And then riding my bike. Like, it always starts with like kind of my own idea. Then I start like looking into it. And I'm like, oh crap, this is real. I need to get on board.
I could do this.
Yeah. Like, the reason I started riding a bike wasn't because I really cared too much about the environment. I still love the environment. I cared.
Right.
But it was because I didn't want to depend on I didn't want to pay car insurance. And I thought it was stupid to have 2 cars and I didn't need it. I could ride a bike.
Because y'all's jobs were fairly close to each other.
So I was like, you know what? Let's sell this car, not pay car insurance, and then ride a bike. And it worked out for 1.5 years, 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe in 2 years I'll be saying the same thing. Like, I gave up light because I moved to a farm and wanted a simpler way to live, and then it turned into like, wow, this has been great for me, and I'm so happy I did this.
It's kind of limiting, though. I mean, I'm not saying it's not healthier, but it certainly limits your ability to stay up late once it goes dark. If you have no artificial light, that's that.
But I'll also be waking up earlier, which I already do wake up early. Like this morning, I woke up at 7, right when the sun came up. Went and worked in a garden all day picking collards for a community
garden,
and then
still late for church.
Still late for church, right?
Unbelievable.
And I'll go to sleep. Like Anna fell asleep at 8:30 last night, and I fell asleep around 9.
Y'all are old people, and I love it.
Right after the sun goes down, so who knows? Maybe I don't need to stay up late.
But I guess my issue is, if you cut out artificial light, how are you going to stay up late playing Monopoly? You know?
You're right. And I think that no one needs to play Monopoly.
Right.
It's just, it ruins everything. So why don't you go ahead and lay into that?
Let's talk about Monopoly for a second. This is our next topic after another smooth segue. You're going to play a game designed to make you greedy, to make you vindictive towards your other people because they didn't sell you a property or trade you a property, or
that would have worked for everybody. And
you're gonna play this game with your closest friends and family and expect to come out still friends and family? No. After your 12 to 15 hour experience of playing one of the most boring games ever, once it gets going, like once you're past the fun part of the beginning where you're buying properties, and then it's just a attrition game where you're trying to wear the people down into
so
debt.
Much attrition.
Like, okay, here you go, third time around, you might hit my property, lose enough money to maybe get out.
And then your sister gets so mad that she's still playing this game that you look at her and you say, you know what? I'll give you $1 for Park Place and Boardwalk. And she's like, you know what? Whatever. I'm out of here. And she hands it to you. Then you just stare at your brother and be like, yeah, I am the best businessman, better than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I just get things done.
Sure.
So, and then your brother is about to punch you, screams at your sister, and your mom loses it because
she doesn't like a family fighting. Yeah.
And it's just it turns into nobody's happy. Nobody wins.
Even if you win, you just are a terrible winner, and you just start bragging about it, and that's not that fun.
There's no strategy. There's strategy, but if everybody knows the little strategy that is involved,
oranges and reds are the best properties.
Yeah. Go for orange. Go for yellows. whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those two, they're the best money makers. If you get the oranges, you win. Let's go ahead and just say that.
Oranges are unstoppable.
You get the oranges, you win. Whether it be the first one you get or the second one, you got to get oranges. You win.
Yeah.
So everyone knows that. Once you figure that out, you're in. And everyone just goes for that. It's luck after that. And then the person who wins, the worst part is the person who wins just thinks they're so great.
Yeah, thinks they're some great businessman.
They think they're holier than thou.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not even that good.
Just because I've always spanked you at Monopoly doesn't mean you can say that now.
Oh, I'll always be.
Oh, please. See, that's the problem. I've held grudges about Monopoly for years, and it's time
I'm about to come across this table and end you.
That's fair. It's not even that fun of a game. It just takes forever.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting.
And whenever I talk to someone, they're like, you want to play Monopoly? I'm like, no.
No part of me wants to do that.
I was getting to know someone, and I asked them, we were like, getting to know them.
Yeah.
We were saying, would you rather wear a puffy vest or a, not puffy vest, they're like puffy vest. I'm like, yeah. Would you rather have Monopoly or friendship? And they were like, Monopoly. I'm like, what?
Over friendship?
I was like, well, if you play Monopoly, you're basically divorcing all your friends.
Right, that's the end of that.
So, it was kind of like one of those things. Like, I weight, like, whether a person is really moral and whether they like Monopoly.
Is Catan really any better? Catan, for all you fools out there who say it like
There's
Catan.
so much more.
I'm not saying there's not more strategy, it's not a better game. I'm saying, at the end of the day, are you still not mad at people for not trading you things and going into places you plan to go?
Attrition.
Yeah. It's still a war of attrition.
Game of attrition.
I think at the end of the day, board games are unhealthy.
Yeah, they may be. They may just be.
Which probably could be spread out to video games, and then which could probably be spread out to sports. Pretty much anything that's a competition tends to destroy friendship, but there is something special about Monopoly that is a...
But it's not a team game. You can't build teamwork.
Sure you can. Monopoly, you definitely can.
Yeah, me and my sister...
You destroyed your brother.
Yeah, we did. Thank you, Hope, for letting me win that game.
Yeah, so people who play Monopoly, that's kind of a disgusting habit. What do you say?
Yeah, that's a disgusting one of many sorts.
What kind of disgusting habits do people have that really grind your gears?
See, a lot of people think that because I love to bite my fingernails, that's disgusting.
I do too, for the record.
I'm like, that's normal. And if you go to India or anywhere in India, people fart and burp out in public.
Is that true?
That is very true.
Have you been to India?
No, the girl I work with at the farm lived in India for a year.
The Buddhist?
The Buddhist. Yeah. Buddhist. She's not really
right.
If she had to pick
at least Buddhist ideologies in her head.
She has a lot. Her name is Aziza, and she's very nice. I enjoy working with her a lot.
Shout out to Aziz.
Shout out Aziza. But she was telling me that like you'll be on the train and everybody will just be burping or farting, and there'll be old men who just fart really loud and no one bats an eye at it.
And that's unpleasant.
But people, like, if I had farted in front of my mom, it'd be like
Keith,
this huge thing. No,
how terrible.
Or if I did it at dinner, it'd just be horrible. People over there do it all the time. But that being said, I do have one thing that is super disgusting. And if anybody knows what a dingleberry is, they know what I'm talking about. Did we just go there? I think we did. Because whenever I shower, I just want to make sure my body's completely clean. Okay. So you have to clean yourself fully, and I think that's as far as you need to go. And I don't think, if you don't know what a dingleberry is, don't Google it.
No, please
don't. But you have to get completely clean. And
so that's not a disgusting habit though. That's a clean habit.
It is clean, but you gotta. It's not like picking your nose, but it is kind of like a picking your nose. Like when you get excited that you got something good, and you got something disgusting really good, you're like, ooh, yeah.
What is wrong with me?
It's like picking your nose. I mean, I'm gonna relate it to picking your nose.
Okay.
Because you get a big booger out, and everybody gets it. Everyone picks their nose.
Everyone picks their nose. They're full of crap when they say they're not.
They're full of crap, and when I get a big dingleberry, I am not full of crap.
Right.
In the very literal sense.
Ugh.
So. You just want to be clean, whether it be a booger on your nose and now you can breathe, or you get a dingleberry out and now your underwear's clean.
It's time to put your honesty out there. Are you a flicker or a wiper with your boogers?
Oh, God. It really depends on the booger.
Yeah. If it was a nice slimy one, you wipe that bad boy. If it was a nice hard one, you flick it.
I mean, if it's a nice hard one, you roll it like a tiny little tennis ball.
And then flick it.
So, I think that's that.
Man, but what kind of gross habits do you see out there in the world that you just hate? Like, if people were walking around farting as bad as you fart, that would be death for America.
Yeah, it would be.
That would be a problem.
Yeah, I eat a lot of beans though, so I blame that. I think farting is extremely healthy.
Sure.
When it happens, like I do it. But the second I eat cheese, oh my goodness,
Game over.
Horrific. So it's just done.
Yeah.
And look, I want to get into this a little bit now that we're on just discussing things. So, do you tip somebody that gets your order wrong?
Unfortunately.
It's still really rude to, because
it's rude not to.
It's rude not to, but they ruin order.
Yeah.
In my stance, they kind of, it wasn't just messing up an order, it was messing up my ethics.
Sure.
Because what they put on my food, I am morally against eating.
Sure.
Not that it was a pig that they put on, or bacon that they put on my dish. I asked them not to repeatedly. They put it on my dish, and I didn't want it because I believe that I don't know where that pig came from. I don't know how it was treated or anything about the way it was brought up. And I know in America there's a lot of injustice in the animal agriculture world. So should I have tipped him, even though I tipped him $5, which is a good tip for?
Did you send the food back?
No, I peeled it off. I didn't say anything to anyone. I just peeled off the bacon off my food and went on eating.
You're a better man than I. I'll just throw my crap away if they put all the stuff on it.
Yeah, but it's just, there was still bacon grease on it. There was still animal product.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to eat it, but I was hungry. I'm not going to be holier than thou, to bring back that term.
Sure.
I don't want to throw it in someone's face or be rude or anything like that. Just because I don't eat it, I eat it. And in some points, you just got to suck it up and not be overly complicated. But do you tip somebody who messes up your order like that?
I do, but I wish I didn't have to.
Yeah, I don't think you should.
Well, let's talk about tipping. So tipping in America is a very different thing than tipping in other parts of the world. Other parts of the world, they pay their staff, regular salaries, and then you only tip if it was actually extraordinary service.
Yeah.
Here in America, because we don't pay our wait staff full wages, you kind of have to tip them just so they have a job.
Yeah, I don't fully understand
why we do it that way.
Yeah, because it just ends up that we pay more, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Or do they charge more for everything? But they also have a smaller portion size, which we can get later. But
I mean, we have a culture of tipping, so are you ever going to not tip someone?
I would only like to tip someone who does something that I can't do myself. Like, I would like to tip my urologist because I cannot pulverize my own kidney stones.
Do you have kidney stones?
No, I don't.
But if you
my
did,
sister and dad did. If I did, I would tip my urologist because I can't do that.
Okay, so you want to go to a restaurant, you want to cook your own food.
I can do it.
I didn't say you couldn't, but why would you want to go to a restaurant?
I don't really want to go to a restaurant. I don't find any restaurant to my liking anymore.
You are such a snob now. You're the worst.
I don't listen to music on the radio either.
Yeah, we talked about that last week. What a disaster.
Yeah, what a disaster. But it's just, it comes down to, yeah, it's like, I always pay for this salty, buttered up, just subpar food that I don't really like and I could have made better myself. I'm just like, yeah, I can throw a little bit of pasta with oil on the bottom of a big slab of chicken. Like some people eat and think it's fabulous, like I'm sure both of our families eat. Or I can make something that's...
Heck, I would eat it.
Just delicate and tastes good and isn't salted up and injected with salt and oiled all over just to hide a healthy taste. I don't know. But yeah, I don't want to tip for something I but never really enjoy.
And always, my issue with not tipping also is that you never know whose fault it is. Did they write it down and pass it back to the cook, and the cook got it wrong, and then therefore that's not on your waiter, and you shouldn't blame them?
Maybe I shouldn't tip the cook.
Yeah.
Which I never do.
That's true. So I think you kind of have to keep tipping the waiter unless they come up and say, "Hey, I forgot your thing."
Yeah.
And then you still probably should because you feel bad.
Yeah. But yeah, so you feel bad, and then you say, I don't want a straw, and then they still hand you a straw? That's too far.
Yeah, that's too far.
That's too far. If they hand you a straw, just don't use it. Right?
Man.
Yeah.
Well,
that's my thought about. How do we get off on that tangent?
We were talking about disgusting habits.
Yeah, disgusting habits.
I guess tipping is a disgusting habit.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think it's broken. I definitely think we should move towards the other model where we pay our people regular wages, and then if it was like, hey, they went out of their way to treat me right and make this a great experience, then hey, yeah, here's some money.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I love tipping. I like helping, encouraging people.
You should only tip for extraordinary work.
Yeah.
And I don't think that someone writing down what I want to eat, filling up my water 4 times because I drink a lot of water.
Right, water's delicious.
Water is delicious. And then bringing me food and maybe another ketchup packet or something.
Sure.
Warrants me to give him $5 extra.
Man.
So I am very anti-tipping.
Yeah, I think you heard it here first. He's anti-tipping.
I'm anti-tipping, and I came out of the closet.
Oof.
I'm there.
Well, you know, what kind of food is hot stuff right now? It's kind of this raw thing, and you were going to tell me about what that means. So, there's raw water, there's raw milk. I'm hearing this word raw out there.
So, for everyone who doesn't know, my wife and I are vegetarian, and in our own house, when we spend our own money and buy our own stuff to eat throughout the week, we're pretty much vegan.
Yeah.
We don't buy any animal products, but if it's bought by family members or prepared for us, we'll eat it.
They're heroes.
Well, bringing back the bartering system that we were talking about earlier, someone at the farm I work for brought in some unpasteurized raw milk.
That's
and they
disgusting.
just squeezed that morning. And I've never had it. I'm always up for a new adventure.
Oh no! Did you drink it?
So, if I want to go into 2 points. We bartered some kale, dino kale, and Swiss chard for their unpasteurized milk, which bartering's awesome. Let's go ahead and say that. We'll talk about that later too. But the girl I work with, Aziza, shout out Aziza, what's up?
Yeah.
Is a vegetarian as well. And she was like, I can't wait to drink this raw milk. I'm just so excited.
Ugh.
And like in my mind, I flashed back to a Portlandia episode
yeah.
where people are drinking raw milk,
yeah.
and it's so funny because they escape with a cow, and like Fred Armiston is like he drinks the milk, and all of a sudden he's awake and he moves faster, and his neck's never moved this quick. He's looking around, he literally stops blinking. He's like, I'm cured. But it's kind of the mind over matter thing that we were talking about earlier.
Sure.
And so I'm like, I don't want any because I don't want to drink milk. I don't think it's. I know that cow was treated right, so I'm fine to drink it.
You don't like milk anyway, to begin with.
To begin with, yeah. I don't like the taste of milk. As a kid, I used to have a doctor's note saying I was allergic to it because it made me throw up.
So you made fun of me for drinking so much milk. It was the whole thing.
Yeah. I'd always get juice at school with that. So I don't like milk to begin with. But I've never tried this, so I'm going to try it. So I told Aziza I would try it. And I was joking with her. I said, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And I'm not going to drink that milk, partly just because I didn't want to taste milk because I don't like the taste of it.
Right.
And she was like, you literally just ate cheese. I said, well, that was provided I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to not eat an enchilada that someone prepared for me. But that's digressing. So I'll go in, drink this milk, and I have to say it was the best milk I've ever had to begin with.
Okay.
The first taste, because when I remember milk, I remember like a vanilla-y, just over-sweetened taste, like that just left a bad taste on my tongue, or started with a bad taste on my tongue. But this milk, it wasn't like a vanilla sweetness. It was just like a pretty good taste.
Creamy?
Creamy, yeah. And then it got creamier and creamier and then kind of grassy.
Oh, no.
And it was like a grassy taste in my mouth, and like my tongue kind of started going a little bit dryish, and like I couldn't shake the taste. I was like, oh, wow, that's really not going away. So I'm not saying that a raw milk cured anything of mine. Not that I really had any problems I needed it to. So I don't think it's perfect, a savior. Guys. I don't think it's raw milk will save this world like Portlandia said. That being said, the doctor I work for, Dr. Scarborough, shout out Grant. What's up, Grant?
What up, Grant?
His daughter and his family were drinking raw milk for a little while. And his daughter got E. coli from it.
Oh, that's awful.
And apparently it was like the worst 2 weeks of her life.
Which makes sense. It's not pasteurized. It's not taken care of. It doesn't purge any of that.
No, it doesn't.
It's super dangerous.
It's pretty dangerous. I mean,
for our weakened immune systems of America, because everything's been sterilized and clean.
Exactly. Yeah, everything was sterilized, clean, and this cow, they're not even supposed to. What's in that milk is supposed to grow a baby calf.
Yeah.
And give passive immunity to the baby calf, not to the human.
So it's probably good for us to drink because it would help our immune systems.
Yeah, it also makes us look like a full-grown cow by the end of drinking too much of it.
Are you calling me fat? I drink a lot of milk.
Well, I'm calling the abuse of it obesitizing.
Well, why don't you go talk to your parents? They used to buy me gallons of milk for your house for me to drink. So that's on them. So what else? What other raw stuff is there?
So that being said, I was joking with Dr. Carl one of the last days I was working, and we were Googling like raw milk, and then it showed up raw water.
Yeah.
And the huge trend of raw water.
Like, what does that mean?
Like, oh my!
Just straight from the spring, I guess. No cleaning at all.
Straight from the well, but with the herbicides and pesticides being sprayed over the Great Plains of America,
why not just drink some poison?
Just drink some poison.
Yeah.
Like all of that stuff seeps into our aquifers.
Yeah.
It's not safe.
No.
It's dangerous.
Man.
With dead zones in the ocean and the if you drink out of the Mississippi or Chattahoochee River,
especially the Chattahoochee,
you were drinking either just straight fertilizer, poop,
Atlantis poop,
actually just sheer human, cow, every manure you can think of, then fertilizer, then poison. Yeah, it's idiotic to think that you can drink raw milk out of,
raw water straight out of the ground without cleaning it.
Yeah, I get wells that are localized, and you know what's happened on that land, and you know how big the well is and all that.
Sure.
All that good stuff. But if you're tapping into a giant aquifer in the ground, or if you're not on top of a mountain on a spring, then yeah, it's pretty stupid.
Well, I mean, what are you going to do? You don't even have fluoride in your water for the government to control you if you drink raw, so that's not good. But we'll save that for my dad's episode when we talk about some conspiracies.
Oh man, I'd love to bring your dad on here.
Yeah, we're going to do that soon. Talk about some
this one goes out to David. Climate change, real thing, is here. It's arrived. It's February right now. It is February the 25th, and a week ago, it was 85 degrees, or 83 degrees.
4 weeks ago, it was snowing.
Yeah.
So that's good. But this is just a sort of anecdotal evidence, so I don't really want to use this as a reasoning for climate change. We should really hit them with some science. My real question is, Ivy drink raw milk or raw water?
Does she?
You'll have to call her and ask.
We'll
you know Ivy.
Yeah.
Ivy Flynn. Yeah.
Ivy Flynn.
Yeah.
I don't think that she does.
Okay. So she's clean to that.
Yeah, she's clean.
Now, to close this up, I want to talk about fear. I want to talk about things we're scared of. I want to talk about things we should be scared of, shouldn't be scared of, things that have impacted our lives through the fears we have.
So can we start off with the most basic one that everybody says? So many people are scared of flying.
Oh.
But every time
I'm
you
not
get
scared of that.
in a car, you're in so much more danger than getting on an airplane. I mean, you heard about the plane crash in Russia recently.
Yeah.
That's not the first one in months I've heard of.
There's one in Iran that was like 65 people died.
Oh, okay.
But that was 2 in the last month. But that's a fluke.
I have passed so many toppled over 18-wheelers and, well, my greatest fear on this earth is passing a U-Haul in the middle of Atlanta traffic.
Oh, it's horrible.
Because you know that person has not
been driving a big truck like that.
They probably drive like a smart car.
Yeah.
Or they drove even worse, a motorcycle, and they usually fly past everyone, skinny as can be.
Sure.
But now they're driving this giant U-Haul with everything in their backs, in the back of that truck, and who knows if they're just going to topple over or not see you, or they're not trained to drive a big truck.
No.
So, U-Hauls are my biggest fear. But it's ridiculous how we're more scared of flying or getting on a boat, especially getting on a boat, than we are of getting in a car. Because every time you get in a car, you're statistically like thousands more times likely of dying than getting on an airplane.
Oh, for sure. And that's even if you convert it to like mileage, the number of miles you cover from cars to planes is still way higher on cars. So cars are scary, but we have to. It's kind of a reality of the world right now.
Yeah,
at least America.
It's like a gamble that we take, but we're not scared of. Yeah. Just because we think it is necessary.
Like, there's people all the time. We've skydived, and that was scary. We were scared of that, but people all the time are like, more scared of that, which is probably even safer than driving.
Yeah.
Jumping out of a plane with just a piece of fabric on your back is apparently safer than driving. I would have to look up statistics, but I have no doubt it's at least close to safer.
Yeah.
And that's crazy that people are still all fine to go drive in Atlanta all the time.
Yeah.
I hate Atlanta. Terrifies me.
You get into Atlanta, there's at least like 10 wrecks a day.
Oh, easy.
You'll see ambulances everywhere.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So yeah, traffic scares me a lot. And then I think the number one fear, as everyone says, is public speaking, and that's definitely mine. I have no desire. This is only possible because we're behind a computer and no one can see me.
Yeah.
But public speaking is a nightmare. The idea of someone calling me up on stage at church or at work and making me give a presentation is awful. Awful.
I don't suffer from that as much. I do get anxiety. I feel like I'll stumble through my words at the beginning. But you're right, getting it going and talking to everyone. Like I led a Bible study a few days ago, and it was only 10 people. But there was still some anxiety, whether they think the same things or they think what I'm saying is important. Like I totally know I judged everyone who spoke at that the Georgia Organics Conference.
And how they spoke.
And if they were affluent and everything. I was just like, you suck, you're great, you suck, you're great. The only one that I really, really loved was a doctor from Auburn University. He was called the Bug Guy. His email was like bugguy123
at Auburn. Yeah, that's awesome.
I was like, that you're the man.
Yeah,
you're the man. And he was I don't know where he was from, but he had a strong accent. That was really cool, and I liked him a lot. But yeah, I'll get nervous, but I'm not super scared of public speaking by any means.
I think my wife just woke up, but that's unclear. We'll continue on just in case. So what else are you scared of?
I used to be scared of spiders. I was scared of spiders because I used to have to go feed my dogs every night, and there would be spiders that would kind of like spindle down from the top of the roof out in the little garage patio place I would feed them. Yeah. And I remember like having to maneuver around like 3 different giant spiders and like being scared.
What a nightmare.
But now I can pick a spider up and not care too much, as long as I know it's not a brown recluse or a black widow. Or if it's not too big, I'll pick up a granddaddy long leg and not care whatsoever. So yeah, I'd say spiders used to be, but now not too much. Are you scared of spiders?
I'm scared of all bugs, anything creepy crawly, and even a frog. If a frog were to jump at me, I'd probably be scared of that.
Wow.
Yeah, just the idea of it being near me makes me very.
I picked up a slug this morning and didn't care whatsoever. I pick up frogs, or Anna used to sit in my front yard when we were in high school and try to catch as many toads, little frogs, as she could.
Y'all are so stupid.
Yeah.
So, rats. I know y'all have a rat problem in your house. That would freak me out. I constantly live in fear of that.
Yeah, once you start living with them and they pay good rent, they eat your stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you kind of get over it.
Man, I don't like rats. I don't like public speaking. I don't like bugs, snakes, pretty much anything. I'm scared of a lot of things, but not really. I'm not scared of being in the dark. I'm not scared of coming into a home alone. I'm not scared of going upstairs alone. You know, anything like those childish fears.
Yeah,
those are all
gone. I used to be really scared of basements because I thought like whenever I'd go down there was like a ghost in there, and I would like I would literally run up the stairs and like scared, like chills down my back.
Right. That like, fear of going upstairs because you don't know what's behind you.
Yeah.
Why do we have that? Where does that come from? Is it from horror movies? I blame horror movies personally. That's why I refuse to watch them. But
yeah, it must be horror movies and just little things like that, like Casper, the unfriendly ghost is behind me.
Casper's so evil.
Yeah, Casper's a good guy though. So yeah, I used to be scared of ghosts, but now you come to reality.
So you're not really scared of anything anymore?
I'd say.
What's your number one?
I'd say the most scared thing I am is Anna going through Atlanta traffic.
Anna going through?
Yeah. I get a lot of anxiety. Well, not really when I'm with her, but knowing that she's going.
Yeah.
That's scary to me.
No, it is scary. What about yourself? You scared when you go through it?
No. I don't get scared myself going through it.
Oh, it wasn't my wife. It was Keith's wife. Anna has joined us. So that's exciting.
That's very exciting.
Was the door unlocked? That's hilarious. She welcomed herself into the apartment. Right now we're talking about fears, so we're glad you can join us. What's your number one fear?
Being kidnapped.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's such a, I feel like, I don't want to sound sexist, female fear. Like, Courtney's terrified of that.
Yeah, I have scenarios that constantly play out in my head when I'm getting gas or at the grocery store, or basically anytime I'm out, I'm just imagining every male that could approach me that could hurt me.
But you don't know Hannah. She also has this complex where she feels like she can beat up anybody, whether they're 6'4".
That's not entirely true.
230 pounds. Like, she goes to body combat in the morning and she'll show me like her moves at night, and she'll be like, "No, I can take that guy." I'm like, "Anna, that guy we just passed in the market was like huge."
And you're like 5'2", 100 pounds.
I tried to practice on my dad once. Which, how much do you think Dad weighs? He's like a brick.
He's a solid 210.
210, yeah.
He's 5'9", just bronze.
A lot like me, just built, sort of.
He's a firefighter and just works out all the time.
Yeah.
Like, he can bench press 400 pounds 3 times. It's absurd.
Wow.
Yeah, my moves didn't last. I realized if someone like my dad approached me, I would just die. I'd just roll over and die.
I think you need pepper spray and a gun, but we'll talk about guns another day. That's topical.
I think some pepper spray would probably make me feel better. I don't know why. Nothing like that's ever happened to me. It's just I've watched too much Homeland, too much TV. You know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what does scare me somewhat is trespassing.
People trespassing on you, or you trespassing on things?
Me trespassing on things and people coming out and shooting me.
That is a scary fear.
Do you do a lot of trespassing in your
No, but when we did
for the police, no, he does not.
But in high school, there were a few times where I trespassed in places I shouldn't have been, and whatnot. I was just scared to think that you're on someone's property. And like, I don't know if y'all know this, but like in Sweden, there's like no trespassing. You can't trespass in Sweden unless you destroy their property, which in case you get like 4 years in prison. But like, everywhere is like free range. They have like a term in Sweden where they call that.
Yeah.
But in America, I don't know if you know, I forget the name of them, but there's a famous case of a kid who dressed up for Halloween and went to the wrong house and was walking up to the front steps of the wrong house, the door next door, and the guy opened the door and shot him in the chest with a shotgun. And now it was trespassing. He wasn't where he should have been, and it was completely illegal to shoot him in the chest because he was trespassing. I was like, if I could just walk up to someone's door
on accident, the wrong door.
Yes. And they could shoot me in the chest.
When I was trying to find y'all's house, I could have gone to the wrong door, and then he just shot me.
Exactly. There was a huge case about that.
That's interesting.
And I think about when I'm going to the wrong door, I get a little anxiety, thinking like, "Oh, is this the right door? Is someone about to like karate chop me?"
With a bullet.
Yeah, with a bullet across the face. So I'd say accidental trespassing. Like, I'm kind of second guessing myself sometimes. I mean, that's kind of weird and maybe funny. I read a book about trespassing across America that kind of made that come out.
It was required reading for school for the police. That was not a optional read.
It was very optional. I chose to do that.
Yeah. I mean, y'all know my first roommate. I won't name any names. It starts with a G. Did you ever hear the story of what happened in Auburn when they trespassed in the quarry? I mean, that was a terrible situation. They went to jail, of course, but a girl fell down like a rock quarry and like went to the hospital and was in a terrible situation. I would never trespass again. That kind of thing, like, that's a nightmare scenario.
When you told me that, like, I got a lot of anxiety about that.
Yeah, it's so easy because then not only are you in trouble for trespassing, but your decision hurt someone. You know, like, that's awful.
No, you're right. And like all the time, like, I'm at work thinking, like, you're not allowed to be back here, but if you own it, no one really knows if you're trespassing or not.
That's true.
In some situations.
We tried in Canada. It didn't work.
Yeah. We did trespass the government building.
We owned it. Didn't work.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it.
So Anna, besides being kidnapped, what else are you scared of? Anything silly? Like, I'm silly. I'm scared with bugs. All kinds, even if they're not dangerous in the slightest.
What am I scared of?
Like stink bugs that look like wasps. I know they're not wasps, but they're
really
still scary.
scared of bugs or anything like that. Spiders, I'll just flick them off. Not like
With her actual
flipping,
finger, she just looked at it.
yeah, just kind of scoot them out of
Screw
my way if I need to. I mean, snakes are of course terrifying, but pretty much everyone is scared of snakes except for random science people.
Brave people. Are you scared of public speaking?
Not really.
Yeah, I know you gave a couple speeches recently, so.
No, if I know what I'm talking about pretty well, I'm not really nervous about it. But if I don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm very nervous. I can't even think of anything that I'm really scared of besides that.
I would say kidnapping's your number one.
Yeah, and I project that onto other people. Like when I lived with my sister, if she wouldn't text me back late at night, or I would wake up at 3 a.m. and just be like,
Where are you? Are you
"Where
okay?
are you?"
Yeah.
Calling her, because I just would imagine horrible scenarios, and that's pretty much that topic. Kind of branched out in different versions. Is my number one fear.
Projecting fear is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about traffic in Atlanta and how he projects that fear on you. Like when you're driving through Atlanta, that stresses him out.
That's a fear.
Yeah, it's awful.
I'm afraid driving in Atlanta.
I'm not scared of driving on my own pretty much ever. Except, I don't like driving through Atlanta, but if Courtney's driving out somewhere, and I don't like it.
Yeah, Keith gets nervous when I have to drive somewhere.
And I'm not saying it because she's a woman. I just really don't like the idea of me not being able to protect her, or like try to drive safer, better, whatever, you know?
Yeah. What did you say yours was?
You know what?
Public speaking.
Being buried alive. You don't.
It's not a very reasonable fear, though.
You don't realize it until you're claustrophobic. Like, have you ever been like in something and like
Yes.
you're like, oh crap, I can't get out of here, and you panic hard.
Yeah.
Like really hard.
Claustrophobia is very real for me.
Like I'll tell you what it was. I went into we have a giant walk-in freezer at the farm where I work, and like
Someone closed you in as a
like
joke.
almost. But it's not funny because when you're in there, it really stinks. Like the door started to close behind me, and you can't open it from the inside.
Right.
So you have to like prop it open.
That's
scary.
terrible.
But like I walked in there and looked back at it, and I heard it creaking, and I went and jolted. Like my heart was pounding because I thought I was about to be locked in a freezer. That is
scary.
They keep it at like 13 degrees in there.
Oof, that is cold.
Yeah.
You'd be fine for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and like it's a big one. And they were working in the field. I would have just been in there for.
They would have just thought you were off doing something in a different part of the farm.
Yeah.
So from now on, I need you to have chairs, bricks, anything wedged between that door. You don't get caught in there, right?
Being trapped in something and claustrophobic is definitely a fear of mine as well. Yeah, heights don't get me too much.
I get vertigo, but that's about it.
I can't like stand on the edge of a cliff
Right.
by any means, but
When I stand on the edge of the cliff, I get the vertigo.
Yeah. My stomach just kind of flips over and.
I just lose confidence in myself. It's weird. Like
yeah.
when I'm walking normally, like I'm not concerned I'm gonna fall over all of a sudden. But when I'm on the edge of the cliff, all of a sudden, here we go. You know?
Right.
I can do a standing backflip and land in the same spot on the ground. But if I do that on the edge of a cliff, yes, I can.
Oh,
Tanner
my gosh.
Childs.
Yeah.
What up, Tanner? He showed me how to do one. So,
Well, Anna, you joined us late. Do you want to talk about anything today, or you want us to close? Because we've gone an hour and we're open to another topic if you'd like, or we can call it. If you got anything on your mind you'd like to talk about, I'm always open for it.
Nothing's coming to mind right
why
now.
don't you give her a rundown of what we talked about and see if she has any fun input?
So we talked about miracles. Do you think miracles are dead now? And do you believe miracles existed ever? And do they still exist? What is a miracle? All that kind of stuff. Talk about miracles.
I think miracles still happen, and I do think they have happened in the past. I think there are tons of stories about miracles, especially like we learned in church today.
Why do you think we don't see them in America? Or people state that we don't?
I think we see different types of miracles than I feel like the stories that we hear of in the past, like.
People aren't being brought back from the dead necessarily,
right?
But
we still have miracles of like relationships being restored, and people have healing and different things like that I still would consider a miracle. Even just something being revealed to you in your own life, like I don't know, just something from a book or something that sheds light on something in your life that I would consider a miracle, but not like
is that
in
a
a biblical
miracle?
sense.
Is that a miracle? Because, I mean, that's all happening in the realm of physics as we know it.
Yeah.
We say the miracles as something that defies the laws of nature, defies physics.
Almost has to be supernatural.
Yeah.
But that may not be your definition of a miracle, in which case we're coming at it from different angles,
Yeah,
which is
I
fine.
don't think that's my definition of a miracle.
Okay.
So I would have to disagree a little.
Like, is it... I don't know. I don't want to use someone else as an example. Let's say me and my sister, we don't have a good relationship. If we fix that, is that a miracle?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Well, too, yeah.
It might be supernatural, honestly.
Yeah. The fame's awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to Fame.
Right. All right, hit her with the second topic.
So, next we talked about artificial light. I'm sure Keith's talked your head off about it recently.
Artificial light?
Yeah.
I didn't talk to her. That was a podcast first discussion for me.
Ooh,
This
so
is new to me. I barely know what that
he
means.
went to his Augusta conference, and his farmer boss said that the artificial light wore him out because he's so used to living in sunlight, right?
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of studies in sleep where you don't sleep as well if you're looking at screens
True.
right before you go to bed, and that sort of light just messes up your day-night cycle, and so you don't sleep as well.
So basically, what happened was Chris. What up, Chris? You the best man.
We're shouting out lots of people today.
Yeah.
We are shouting out Ivy.
Ivy, listen, Ivy. But Chris said basically that he was tired, and I thought he meant from just like his brain going all day, from the speakers at the conference and learning so much. But then when we get back to the farm, he was like, "Man, that light really wore me out." I was like, "Is that what you meant when you were saying that?" He said, "Yeah, I couldn't stand being in that artificial light all day." And I was like, "Huh?
Could you be any cooler?
Yeah. Could you?"
Why are you such a hippie?
How do I be more like you?
And they don't have I don't think they have any overhead lights in their house. They have a few lamps.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. They have a few lamps, and they wake up when the sun comes up, and they go to sleep right after the sun goes down.
Okay, I had to take credit for that
You
because
did.
I introduced this to you forever ago.
No.
And Keith took credit
As
for
far-
it.
No,
You
no.
didn't introduce anything. God introduced it.
Oh.
True, but I'm
But no,
saying...
artificial light. It was something that I wasn't expecting him to say. Gave him and his wife a headache and tired them out.
Right. I wouldn't have expected that either.
Breaking marital fight, guys. Here we go.
Breaking news.
So what
Yeah.
Keith was bringing this to the table was, of course, that he's removed all artificial light from your home without asking, and that will be your new life.
Well, so after reading The Unsettlers, Searching
Shout
for
out
the
to
Good
The
Life in
Unsettlers.
Today's America,
Right.
fantastic book, I started using candles around our house. Not like necessarily fragrant candles, but
Thank
fragrance.
gosh. They're so expensive.
I know, they're a fortune. So we actually had a ton of candles and candle holders from Miss Kathy that she gave to us that she was trying to get rid of when they moved.
Shout out to my mom.
You the best. And I
Yeah.
started using those more at evening time instead of using the light because it
We
does
did.
help with like your natural rhythm and
We
getting
used a
you
lot of
ready for
candles
bed.
for a while.
And I think it does help your body to shut. I mean, because biologically, your body is, I think, wired to wake up when the sun comes up, and it starts to shut down when the sun goes down. So I think, but with all this light and distraction and screen time and everything else, I don't think that if we are sleeping well, we're probably not sleeping as deeply.
It's still not great sleep.
Yeah, as we naturally could. So we've kind of gotten away from that habit, but we did that for several months, and I really enjoyed it because it also, I found it helped us to actually get more done in the time that the sun was up, because I knew that if I tried to only use the candles, so I knew that I only had a little bit of time where the sun was up still, that I could.
Yeah, write your
Read
thoughts
or
down.
whatever,
Read.
yeah.
It gave you a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's hit Anna with the next few yes or no's.
Right. Word association real quick. Monopoly.
Boring.
Does it destroy families?
Yes.
Thank you.
Raw milk.
Raw milk.
Portlandia.
Yeah, that's what I said too. But good, yes or no?
This is fun.
Good or
I
bad?
like this.
Yeah.
I'm saying, what is my response supposed to be?
Do you think it's a
In or
healthy
out?
thing? Should we be pursuing raw milk?
Your first thoughts.
I truly don't know what raw milk is or what exactly.
Straight from the
it
cow.
is.
Yeah,
No
from the udder.
pasteurization.
Straight from
Nothing
the udder.
happens to it.
Yeah.
No, because I don't really think dairy's good in general. So
Vegan, hippie. What is the
good
grossest
for
habit?
baby cows. Grossest habit? not brushing your teeth.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wow.
Mhm.
Anna's all
I was going to shout
I'm
out
all
someone who
about
doesn't
dental
brush their teeth.
hygiene.
Over.
Give us another one. Can you think of another one?
A grossest habit. Not cutting your fingernails and your toenails, and
What if you bite them? Is that okay?
no, that's gross.
Man.
Right. Gross, and not having them cleaned out. Like if I look at someone's fingernails or toenails, and they're like, unless you're a farmer, Keith,
Oh, cut them some
or
slack.
a mechanic like my dad, he has permanently stained.
What about all the dust on my keyboard at work?
That counts too.
All right, next.
We already did fears, and that's pretty much it. We kind of covered it,
Cool.
honestly.
Y'all covered a lot of ground.
Raw water. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Straight from the ground. Nasty.
Just regular H2O.
If it's straight from the ground 2,000 years ago, I say yes. But straight from the ground in present day, I say no.
So that closes it, I think. Anna, are you open next Sunday for a podcast? Because I'd like to have you and Courtney and Keith on and
Sure.
finally do it big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because we got, I've got a handful of topics that I feel like
We'll be here.
I've been waiting for y'all to cover.
I'm pretty sure we'll be here.
Good.
So yeah.
All right, we'll
Thanks
talk to
for
you next
having
week.
us.
This was Opinions on Everything. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Anna.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
We'll see you later. No, we won't. We'll talk to you later.